is Wednesday, April 1st, and there's some lovely new landscaping out in front of Ace Plaza. So the new landscaping features this beautiful blue glass river. I think these are glass rocks. They are glass rocks. And I watched them working on it last week, and it is finished. It is so pretty. Walk along here. Look at this beautiful blue glass river. It's just so pretty. And we've got some new palms. These little guys, I'm not sure what kind of palm they are, and some little flowers. So this is all done. This is all new. But this is really lovely. All right. I interviewed Stephen Kasheshian, NCSA president, on what it's like being one of 16 students still living on campus.
Hello.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Oh, no problem.
So let's go ahead and get started. Please introduce yourself to everyone.
So I'm Stephen Hoseb Kasheshian. I'm a third year, currently the New College student government president. That's ending soon, but it's one of the things I've been doing for a minute. Currently residing on campus, and that's why we're here to talk about, the residential experience on an empty campus. It's been interesting. I think I found out it's been 3 weeks, like recently, and it's been a process where I've helped develop like a better schedule. It's interesting because it's like I have the same amount of free time I usually do, but not the same amount of things to do within that free time. So it's like a lot of time can just go away sitting and like getting lost in thought. But I've been working out, running around, reading books. It's gotten better day by day. Like we have these staff meals, not staff meals, but we have these meals that come in from staff, like the RHD staff and the housing staff. Like 2 or 3 times a week, we're getting meals from Mets, and it's pretty cool when you just remember, oh, I have a free meal today that I can just eat instead of thinking, what am I cooking, what am I doing? So feel better by the day. I'm getting more accustomed to this new routine. But I'm still doing everything I usually do. I still religiously schedule out time. When it comes to family, my dad is stuck in Indonesia right now and trying to get back to Lebanon. Yeah, he got his visa extended, but it's funny hearing from him because, this random Lebanese guy in Indonesia right now has been there for, I think, 2 months, and whenever I think I'm losing it, I talk to him and I'm like, oh, okay, you're doing much worse. It's good to hear.
But for the most part, your family is safe and well.
Yeah, there's a recent CNN report where U.S. citizens declined to come back to America because they feel safer in the capital of Lebanon. They said that we have health insurance here. I don't know how much it's going to cost in America. And it's crazy to see that people in a considered, people use the word third world, but I would say developing country, are doing better than they are in the U.S. And when I read that, interview, I felt like the people were delusional, but they also, they have their own, beliefs, and they feel safer back in Lebanon. So I think there are certain parts of the country where it's more rural and people are better isolated, but then there are parts that are very dense, where it can be like, okay, then there's the risk.
Well, I'm glad to hear that they're well and that you're doing well. How would you say that how many students are on campus right now?
I think around 17. I see
How would you
people
say
walking
everyone's
around.
doing?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I wouldn't know. I see people walking around and jogging and, people doing the things they need to do to better, their own mental health, and I respect that, but I am keeping a distance from everyone.
Yeah, safety first, for sure. If you would could give us some advice, what can we as students, staff, and faculty who live near campus, relatively near campus, how can we support you all?
You know, I did New College NCF Connects last Wednesday at 1 o'clock, where we just had a big Google Hangout. I'm not sure if you got the email from the NCSA, and professors hopped on. Well, I'll make sure the email gets to staff again, right? Professors hopped on our Google Hangout and just asked how we were doing in staff. It's just always really cool when we all connect in virtual spaces and see how each other are doing. I don't know, it's always weird to ask people how they can do when I'm very cognizant of each person's individual struggles. I'm going through a pandemic and so are you, right? So it's like my mind is I really want people to prioritize themselves, right? But just reach out to people. If you have friends that you know are not doing in the best living situation, reach out. Text messages go a long way. Voice calls go a long way. If you could make a call to this is for students to students, you can call your friends, your classmates. If if you have an online course and you're not seeing a peer show up, call them if you can, or message them on Instagram or Facebook and be like, hey, I understand what you're going through. I'm here. Just remind each other we're a community and we're the strongest when we are one.
Reaching out is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was great to see you.
It's great to see you. Have a great day. And everyone listening and watching, I hope y'all doing okay.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
What do you see, Raj? Are you going to get that lizard? Roger, what are you going to do about that lizard? What are you going to do about that lizard? You going to get him? Are you going to get that lizard? I don't think you're going to get that lizard, Raj. You're not even on target. Oh, Raj. You get an A for effort, though.
And now, an interview with 3 student writing assistants from the Writing Resource Center to provide an overview of virtual writing support services.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fantastic.
Yay. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good.
I'll ask you to go around and introduce yourselves. Asia, do you want to start?
Okay, I'll begin. Hi, my name's Asia. I use she, her pronouns and they, them pronouns. And I'm a SWAN thesising student.
Yay! I'm Phoebe. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a third-year English student as well.
My name is Bailey. I use she, her pronouns. I am a psychology thesis student, and I am a SWA student writing assistant. We all are. And we're working remotely now.
Indeed we are. Indeed we are. So speaking of working remotely, can you tell us a little bit about how you're supporting student needs virtually? Like what services and support is available from the Writing Resource Center?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that the WRC is still very active online. If you don't already follow our Facebook at NCFWRC and the same tag for our Instagram, we post memes and we try and keep students informed through those platforms.
Cool. Bailey, do you want to talk a little bit about scheduling meetings with scholars?
Yeah, so all you have to do to schedule is go to our website, which is ncf.mywc online, and you'll log in or create an account if you don't have one. And then after you do that, you'll be prompted with different schedules that you can select, and we'll select the WRC Spring 2020, and then you'll see a bunch of little boxes, and you'll basically just click an appointment, and then fill out what you need, and then a SWA will send you a Google Meet calendar invitation, and you accept it, and then you go to the link at the time of the appointment, and everything should work out. But if it doesn't, you can always just email us, and we will be more than happy to try to help rectify the situation. And there's another section on our website where on the drop-down bar you can see a schedule for different writing groups that we're having to support students in this time.
Can you tell us a little bit more about those writing groups?
Yeah, for sure. So the writing groups last 2 hours, and there are lots of different writing groups. There's one for tea, one for meditation, one for thesis students specifically, and they're a place for students to socialize, feel supported, and sometimes get a little work done. We like to use the Pomodoro method. So we'll do about 25 minutes of work and then about 5 minutes of like talking about our day or how our work is going or what TV shows we're watching or how our thesis is going.
Cool. That sounds great. Phoebe, can you talk a little bit about what a virtual session might look like and what sorts of things you might cover?
Sure. So I tend to start my appointment just to get like that buffer out of the way because it is a different format than we're all used to. So I spend the first few minutes, face to face in the virtual format video chatting. And then what we can do is either continue our conversation through this, by talking virtually in this way, or oftentimes we'll then move over to a shared Google Doc. So you'll share your Google Doc with us and we can continue voice chatting and work together on whatever piece of writing that you have shared with us.
Cool, that's helpful. So can you also just tell us a little bit what's working for you as students working from home? Asia, do you want to start?
Yeah, so I think what's working for me is when I have a Google Meet with one of my classes, the professor has split us up into 2 smaller groups that we switch to and we have discussions and we make our questions before joining back in the big group. I think with a slightly larger class, it's easier to have like the sort of smaller groups on a call to talk and then be able to share.
That makes sense. How about you, Bailey? Anything in particular that's really working for you?
Besides just having like a really set routine and schedule so I don't overwork myself, I've been using this notebook that has like it's reusable so you can like erase it, but it also has a little QR code at the bottom so I can scan it and it'll convert it to a PDF. And it's been really useful for like sharing notes. And in the WRC we usually like to use whiteboards so we can like write out like outlines and different things like that. And we've been trying to like brainstorm different alternatives to whiteboards, and I found this one to be very useful. And I know that if you don't have this specific journal, there are still a lot of apps that you can use that'll convert handwritten notes into PDF.
Can you send me an email with links to all of that stuff so I can include it in the email?
For sure.
Thank you. And finally, Phoebe, can you tell us a little bit about what's working for you?
Seconding Bailey, I think having a secure schedule and just having a routine really is helping. With that, my courses that have taken to this small group format, it's just so much easier to handle these discussions and readings and getting work done. But also having discussion boards. I know a lot of my professors have had that as a way to continue participation where via the online format it's been getting difficult.
Well, that's really, that all sounds really helpful. And I've heard some of the same things from other students. So I'm really, really glad that you're all keeping on. It's so good to see you. Yes, greetings from Rogerland, who is definitely keeping me very entertained. Yay. Thank you guys. All right. I'll be talking to you again soon.
For having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
The ospreys are very vocal today. There's one in the nest, and then there's another one up in the tree. I don't think we can see it though. Hello. Very busy afternoon down here at the bay. Oh, I think there's a plane coming in. Oh, yeah, here comes a plane coming in for landing. Oh, beautiful afternoon.
And now, an interview with Cal Murgu, our digital humanities librarian, and Kim Anderson, associate professor of art, on our senior thesis art exhibit, The Embodied Mind, available virtually beginning April 20th.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to have you here. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, my name is Kim Anderson, and I'm Associate Professor of Art at New College of Florida.
Hi, I'm Cal Murgu. I'm a Digital Humanities Librarian here at New College.
Welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about the digitization project?
Sure. I'll just start off by talking about what it initially was supposed to be. And so every year we host a physical in-person thesis exhibition that features the work of a year-long project executed by our thesis students in art. And we usually have a gallery exhibition that runs about a month long. And there's usually some kind of celebration or exhibition reception that accompanies that. And this year, for obvious reasons, we had to think of some alternatives. So I turned to Cal and I said, hey, can we make a 3D space that looks kind of like our Eiserman Gallery and try to approximate what we would have done in person in a digital space? So.
And Cal, how did you determine the best platform and workflow for the digital exhibit?
Well, I had some experience with a few platforms in the past, and one of those was Art Steps, which is what we used to create the exhibit. And basically all that's involved is creating a digital space that mirrors the Eiserman. We had a few challenges in that we're limited in the actual space that we're allowed to build in. So the Eiserman gallery that you'll see in the virtual exhibit is actually just half of it. It doesn't have the long kind of the hallway component to it. So that was one challenge, but it was really a straightforward process once we had dimensions of the space and we could create the walls and sort of arrange the artwork. In terms of digitization, Kim, you could talk about this a little bit, but I think the students were asked to take high-res images or photos of their work, and that's what we're working on. Yeah.
So, and one of the goals is to create this to scale as much as possible. So the students, in addition to taking the high-res images, provided dimensions of their work so that when it's placed in the gallery, you know, it looks as close to sort of what it would have looked like in person, scale-wise as well. So.
And I see the exhibit's going to be live on Monday, April 20th. Is that correct?
That's the hope. Yes. How's that going, Cal?
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
And
the nice thing about the exhibit is that it's not, you know, it's not simply the artwork that you get to experience, but you get to actually walk through the exhibit in a way that you control an avatar inside the virtual exhibit that lets you move from piece to piece in a much more intuitive, hopefully more organic way. So we're hoping that that gives that sense of sort of an exhibition rather than images on a website. It's a little bit more interactive.
do you have plans to continue providing a digital platform for our art exhibits?
We haven't talked about that yet, but it obviously offers some really beneficial advantages. One being we can reach a wider audience. So, the visibility is a little bit better. I mean, if people can't physically make it to the gallery, they would have access to the exhibition elsewhere. And that's part of the reason that I asked, and it was a little bit more challenging, but I asked Cal if we could actually try to emulate the physical gallery so that students are making their work for a very specific place in mind. And yeah, I think it would be nice to maybe sort of create these recreations and eventually build an archive of those exhibitions.
Yeah, if there's any sort of bright spot to the pandemic, it's that it's forced us to approach these events that we used to hold in person and try to create these digital surrogates that honor the occasion and give students and the community at New College an opportunity to celebrate these students and their work that they're doing. And I think going forward, the like Kim said, the opportunity to extend the life of these things past the physical exhibit and to be able to share it, but also to preserve it as a librarian, that's obviously important to me. And there are other considerations that we need to take into account when we're actually trying to preserve something for posterity for a long time, which I don't think we've had a conversation about yet, but we will. I think it's on the docket to discuss.
Well, I am really excited to enter the exhibit on Monday and to see all of our students' amazing work. I know that there's going to be a lot of excitement. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll include a link to the exhibit in this email.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing it. Okay, bye.
Thanks.
Roger's been very busy with his own projects, but so has this kitty who's been helping with the local TV weather. And now it's time to highlight your reptile and amphibian friends. We received so many entries this week, so I'd like to highlight our best snakes, frogs, and turtles. Oh my! It's the week you've all been waiting for. Finally, it's Cat Week. Be sure to show us your floofy cats and your sleek little panthers, and we will highlight your feline friends in next week's show. Yay, cats! Thanks for watching this week's episode of RogerCast.